Iran Inferno seems to have hit a pause for now. Schools have reopened in Iran's capitals. SMS services have returned, and the internet seems to be next. That is set to make a comeback. The protests might have died down in Iran, but people across the globe are speaking up. In another West Asian country, Iraq, hundreds took to the streets to protest against the U.S. moves against Iran, expressing fury at Washington and solidarity with Iran. Demonstrators held signs reading, "We are with you," waved Iraqi and Iranian flags, and chanted slogans condemning the U.S.
This is about managing a broader confrontation. If required, we are fully prepared and ready to stand alongside the Islamic Republic and take part on the front lines in confronting any American aggression.
Iranians living in Japan poured into the streets of Tokyo and spoke against the crackdown on protesters.
It passed like 6 or 7, 8 p.m. The people would start protesting and they would start mass shooting people. I remember I had to run away from the street within like the other alleys, and I went to my partner's home to seek shelter. And then the shooting sounds would continue until midnight, and it was non-stop.
For the first time, Iran's Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei has admitted thousands of deaths in the protests that rocked the country for the last 2 weeks. Khamenei says the seditionists were agents that were armed by outside forces.
Through hurting people, rioters killed several thousand of them.
The Iranian leader lashed out at Trump, directly quoting him to be involved with the rioters, deeming him to be the reason behind violence in Iran.
The peculiarity of these riots was that the President of the United States himself got involved. He spoke out, expressed his views, and made threats. He encouraged the rioters, sent them messages from the United States, I will say later who it was, telling them to go ahead, to move forward without fear. He said, "We support you. We will provide you with military support." In other words, the US President himself became involved in the unrest. He is part of it.
President Trump also upped the ante. He launched the most direct attack on Iran's Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei. In an interview to US media, Trump called for an end to Ayatollah's 37-year-long reign. Trump went further, calling Khamenei a sick man who should run his country properly and stop killing people. Trump claimed that Iran is the worst place to live anywhere in the world because of poor leadership. So far, Iran has not acknowledged the exact number of deaths from the protests that started on December 28th last year and sent ripples across the globe. Human rights groups say the figure is certainly above 3,000 and could be much higher. The protests have subsided, but the war of words between US and Iran leadership has escalated dramatically. Burzim Wagma Center for Iranian Studies, SOAS, University of London, is now joining us live. Thank you very much for your time and welcome to the broadcast. I just want to know from you, now that the rhetoric has changed where Trump is targeting Ali Khamenei, do you think he will succeed in toppling Khamenei? And if that happens, what will be the repercussions?
As he's living on borrowed time, a regime that is now thriving and ruling only through fear, a regime which delegitimizes the grievances, genuine, palpable, bread and butter economic grievances of its population, and also violates the basic dignity of both the dead and the living. Let me elaborate on the last point. Morgues are overflowing in Tehran and elsewhere, and bodies have been piled up in refrigerated trucks on streets. The stench of blood is thick in the air, and municipal officials are having a tough time cleaning the pavements. And this is happening as we speak. And those who come, distraught relations looking for cadavers, and when they do find it, are told by officials, and this is, I'm quoting from Persian, "You have 10 minutes to cry and move on." That is to say, move on or or collect the body if you wish to. But for the latter option, you have to cough up a good 500 million to 1 billion tomans, which is the equivalent of anything from $5,000 to $7,000, in a country where average monthly incomes stand at $40 a month. I repeat, 40. And of course, the regime has gained the upper hand in the last 72 hours. Well, considering that you have the Revolutionary Guards and the Basij paramilitary personnel bludgeoning and shoot everyone to death. And these Basij paramilitaries that I just referred to are 19 and 20-year-old Shia boys, doctrinally brainwashed as foot soldiers of the regime, who are being paid $70 a day to do the bloodshedding. Again, $70 a day goes a long way in a country with electricity blackouts, petrol rationing, and monthly earnings of $40 a month. So please put that into perspective. Excuse me. And what makes it worse now is that the regime is going to embark on a communications black hole by digitally isolating Iran from the rest of the world through a hermetically sealed intranet.
So I just want to know from you, and I just want to understand from you, are you directly answering my question where I asked, do you think Trump will be able to topple Khamenei? And if he does topple Khamenei, what will be the repercussions going forward? I just need your clarification on that.
Mr. Trump, given his temperamental attitude, has said all options are on the table. He hasn't, for now, the regime has bought time, and he has somehow bought into their assertion, as he said on good authority, that they're not going to shoot anymore. But he himself has iterated that he's willing to exercise any option subsequently. The problem is with that is this. It has to be a sustained campaign, concomitant with something at home giving way. That is to say, if the police and security forces or some elements in the junior command of chain or in the armed forces, the tri-services, decide not to shoot on protesters or to clamp down when the next round of protests do take place, which is a foregone conclusion. Because the regime, I said, has just bought time. So Mr. Trump has not exercised the option of not doing anything further again if in times to come. And the regime, like I said, and this is the basic point I need to drive home, is that it is going to happen again, because the regime this time has reached a point of no return, because this particular bout of violence and riots, which started on 28th December, so all 31 provinces racked by riots, so every strata of Iranian society involved, including those who were hitherto regime loyalists, the pious middle and low middle class. So the regime, as I said, has just bought time, and Trump could do something, and he has himself gone on record to state that he is not going to remove that option later, and therefore keeping the regime on tenterhooks.
All right. Mr. Burzin Wagma, it's good to see you. Thank you very much for your time and for talking to us today.